Hi everyone, my name is Cody and I am here currently running a fuel experiment on something I've been doing a little bit of research on for quite some time. Been doing some research on fuel efficiency. This vehicle here is a 2012 Chrysler 200 with a 4-cylinder motor. Mileage is right now that I'm getting is about 17 miles in city, about 22 highway, and that's not very adequate, especially for the price of gas that is nowadays, and also the fact that, you know, I'm usually having to put gas in it about once a week. So my theory was on just a random video that I saw online in regards to running your vehicle on a vapor. Well, at first I was trying to think, because I remember seeing a video a long time ago about adding hydrogen based fuel using a hydrogen generator and a bubbler to be able to increase fuel mileage. But then I was thinking, okay, well, at that point it would increase fuel mileage using hydrogen, but hydrogen is a great source, yes, but you can't generate enough of it to adequately completely run on a vapor. So then I was thinking, okay, well, what about running on a fuel-based vapor? So then I figured I'd do a little bit of research looking around, and I ended up finding quite a few different videos where people were posting where they had made modifications and were able to get their cars running on just a fuel-based vapor. Now, I then continued to do my research, making sure that, you know, I wasn't going to miss anything, and at that point I was like, okay, I think I might be ready to give this a shot, just to give it a try. Nothing, you know, too fancy or anything like that. As you can see, this is the 4-cylinder engine. Everything is still completely intact. Now, on a lot of those videos is proof that the vehicles are running on vapor and no fuel. People were removing their fuel pump relays. Problem on this vehicle is they actually hard soldered the fuel relay directly into the fuse box. As soon as I can get this out of there, which is directly underneath this board here. There is actually a relay that's hard soldered directly to the control module. So that was going to be, you know, too much of a pain in the butt to deal with, especially considering that it wouldn't really be ethical for testing purposes. So then I started looking, okay, well, what if I just pulled the power for the fuel pump? The fuel pump on this particular vehicle just so happens to be underneath the back seat. Again, something that I really didn't want to deal with at the moment. I tend to be a little lazy, so I try to find other ways of doing it. So then I was thinking, okay, well, fine, I'll be that way. I can just pull the wires from each of the injectors. But then I was thinking, okay, problem with that would be, then what happens if too much pressure builds up on the fuel line, causing a burst in the fuel line or causing my fuel pump to go out? Didn't want that either. So what I decided to try was, for the time being, just take the fuel line and run the fuel line into a temporary container as the fuel line pumps the fuel, so that way you can actually see that the motor is running completely on vapor with no fuel, no liquid-based fuel. Now, also what I went through and did, just literally as a test, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hell from a lot of people for this, but you know what, oh well. I am a random guy, and before I go and spend a lot of money on, you know, building my own component, I decided, why not build a prototype, just to test something. This here is a I believe it's a sewage tube for RVs and trailers. Picked it up at Walmart. This here is a Sunny Delight gallon jug. Of course, painter's tape. I'm real cheap, just real quick, threw it together. And then each of the individual hoses, you can see there's four different hoses going through right now. This is for the intake flow. This is literally just garden hose. I just took some garden hose, cut it up, taped it in, and then of course I cut the top of the container off and taped on the hose directly in. This here is where the vapor will be getting sucked into. This will be what causes the vacuum, which will cause the air to flow into the hose, into all four of the hoses, creating a bubbler based system into the fuel, which will cause a vapor. So I guess at this point, it's time for me to get started. So give me just a moment. I'm going to pause this video while I get this connected up, and then I'll be right back. Hi, okay, I am back. I have really just jerry-rigged, thrown together. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. This is literally for testing purposes. Now, as you can see, here is the bubbler system that I real quick threw together. Literally took me like 10 minutes just to put together. Then I have the tube running straight. I took the intake, the air intake, directly off the air filter system, and literally all I have is just the line kind of just sitting right there. You can see I have a little bit of a lip for airflow, for regular airflow, just to be able to compensate for the air fuel ratio mixture. Then behind here, I literally have a gallon milk jug, where you can see here is the fuel line that goes straight into the fuel injector system. I literally took the fuel line, just disconnected it, and I literally just have it sitting right there. So you'll actually see that the fuel pump is functioning, and it will be actively pumping fuel into the gallon jug. So, shall we give it a go? Let's see what she does. Okay, I gotta get to it a little bit quicker because I gotta be able to play with this air because it's real touchy. So let's see here. Just gonna play with this a smidgen. There. Oh, and as you can see, there's, if you can see, you can't really see very well, but you can see a little bit of fuel down in there. It's already being pumped in by the fuel pump. So here we go. Take two. Okay. Stupid automatic starts. Okay, literally you gotta get it just right, because this is really touchy stuff. Okay, so I'll try again. Perhaps it's not getting quite enough, so we'll just do that, kind of choke it, forcing. Okay, I kind of got to figure out, so I'm going to pause for just a second while I troubleshoot this real fast. Okay, so we're back, and I'm going to try this again. So basically, like I said, I kind of adjusted, and you can see there's very minimal opening right there right now. So we're going to give it a go, and you can see as well that's kind of how much gas I've already kind of pumped into the system. So here we go. And voila, guess what? We are running on nothing but fuel vapor. As you can see, fuel is being pumped into the gallon jug. My fuel injector system is not even connected. So we are running 100% on fuel vapor. Now, it's literally, like I said, it's just a matter of figuring out the exact fuel to air ratio to be able to make some adapters and then kind of go from there. I'm going to shut this off before it overflows into my gallon jug. So literally it works. Car running completely on fuel vapor. So basically now my next step is going to be figuring out more accurately of a fuel mixture to be able to get proper amount of air going into the container here, so that way it can actually literally completely take over the intake system, and then also put together a more appropriate intake system to be able to have filtration, so that way it doesn't make the fuel extremely dirty like I've seen online. So literally I'm just gonna take my fuel line here and I'm just gonna plug it back into the motor, because my wife wouldn't like it very much if I left this disconnected, especially considering that she uses this car much more than I do. So now I can literally, this is how much fuel was pumped into this gallon jug just in that, what, a minute? But then again, there was no pressure buildup, and the injectors were probably sending a signal to the computer that it was requesting more fuel. So that would explain that. So now I'm just going to literally take this and dump this into my gas can, because then I can just take this and pour this right back into the car. But so anyway, there's a lot of improvements now that I know that it's definitely possible to run on pure fuel vapor. I have several other ideas that I'm going to kind of put together. I'll keep making videos and posting videos because I know at least a couple of people will find this interesting. And then also, this may even be something where if I can get a proper system built, perhaps I can even set up and build an actual system to maybe help others out and save some money in gas. Because, like, literally, the price of gas is absolutely retarded and ridiculous. So here, I'm going to take and disconnect this and take my little fancy system here and just kind of move it back over here. And so now it's sitting over there. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to take this, my intake system, and I'm just going to very difficultly reattach it. And got my fuel line plugged back in. And now I'm going to go ahead and just start it back up just so you guys can see that it does run just fine. Now, yeah, that's the other thing. With these newer smart cars, the computers actually try compensating for lack of fuel or more fuel or too rich. So the computer tries to compensate for itself. So that might be a beneficial thing in the future once I get to that point. But I haven't gotten that far yet. Of course, I'm still in hypothesis and development stages. So the other interesting idea that I was thinking about as well is, perhaps once I get, or maybe even while I'm building this system, I may end up going through and on top of doing a fuel-based vapor, to also further increase combustion, add in a hydrogen-based generator with a bubbler, and be able to allow for the gasoline and the vapor or the gasoline and the hydrogen to be able to mix together in the combustion chamber. Also, I have to make sure that I cover all of my safety measures, of course, making sure that I get an adequate screen to be able to protect from flashback. But, you know, once I get all of that taken care of, it won't be too difficult at all to get the system fully up and running. The other benefit to this as well is this same exact type of system can be utilized for generators, for lawnmowers, for a number of different things. And based upon my research as well as my findings, I've also found that this same concept and idea should also work for diesel engines. So it could be something that we could set up into a diesel or into a semi. So you could save, the price of diesel is at the moment cheaper than unleaded fuel, which, is no big deal, but it's a start. The other interesting thing that I found as well is the fact that car manufacturers actually have reports of the same exact similar system where they, instead of shooting the liquid fuel into the combustion chamber and wasting the majority of the fuel, they actually developed all of this fuel vapor setup already. So it was something we've already seen, we've already developed it. But because car manufacturers saw that there was going to be a major loss in money to the fuel companies, they basically took it and kind of, hid the information away. Very few people have actually found the information. I haven't been able to find the research papers myself, but I've found several different studies where they've started to do this research, but then just up and stopped. So I've at least gotten that far, so that's better than nothing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this video now, because my testing is currently done. So I will see you on the next video. Thank you and have a good day.